The following podcast is brought to you by the Johners Podcasting Network, found exclusively at wrestlingwithjohners.com. Hello and welcome to the latest live episode of Wrestling with Johners, episode 310. And today I've got an awesome guest, one of the nicest people that I've come across in the UK wrestling business in 2023, and you'll find out why during the course of this interview. But the promoter of TIDAL Championship Wrestling, or TIDAL Wrestling, Taj Kaur. Taj, brilliant to have you on the show. How are you doing?
I'm doing really well. Thank you so much for having me on the show. I've been watching it, asking questions to people for a while now, so thank you so much.
You've been a loyal supporter of the show, so thank you very much. But we did meet, didn't we, in January? I think it was at a Progress show in the ballroom.
It was a Progress show.
You come running up to me upstairs in the balcony and introduced yourself and said what you're all about, and I said, wow, I'm a fan, so I've got to get you on the show. And it's no better time because we are, of course, building towards your next show, which is this here. Walk the Plank, TIDAL Wrestling, Sunday, July the 30th. And we will go through the card, we'll go through the matches and all of the talent that have been announced. And maybe one or two matches that haven't been announced yet, but there might be a couple of exclusives a bit later on. But if you're watching this live on Facebook, on YouTube, on Twitch, get in touch with the show. If you want to send Taj any questions or any questions about TIDAL Wrestling, any questions about Walk the Plank that happens on Sunday, July 30th, get in touch. Send us your questions through to the show using your chosen device. We'll do our very best to bring up every single one during the course of this interview and preview show. And just a quick reminder that I've been a busy boy over the last couple of months. I'm always busy. This is probably the most prolific podcast that covers UK independent wrestling. And some of my recent guests include Rain Leverkusen, of course, who was a great guest in June. Connor Mills, he was my first guest at the beginning of July. Go and check those two out for sure. Back in the month of June, British wrestling legend James Mason. And then also in June, somebody that Taj knows very well, Vusik, came onto the show. This month, just a couple of weeks ago, Sam Bailey was a tremendous guest. And last week, I had Joel Redmond back on the show. And a good friend of the show, Joel, speaking about, we previewed All-Star Wrestling South's first show, which is happening the day before Taj's show, so they don't clash at all, but in Salisbury, Saturday the 29th, and that was a really fun show. And my next two guests, I've got two interviews this week, so after Taj, I'll be speaking to Septic Sid Oakley on Thursday, a fantastic performer in the southwest of the UK, the current Southwest Wrestling Openweight champion. And then, of course, on Monday, I've got Nathan Angel coming onto the show, a tremendous young performer, being trained by Joel Redmond at All-Star Wrestling South. That's going to be another tremendous interview to cap off what has been a wonderful month of July. But Taj, you've been the promoter of TIDAL since, well, officially since its first show back in January. So what's that, 6 or 7 months now? And we're about 12 days away from your next show, Walk the Plank. Where's your promoter's head at 12 days away from this big show? I'm guessing there's a few butterflies there, Taj.
Yeah, always butterflies. But I'm just really, really excited. It's really crazy. I have to try to stop myself from being so excited before the actual show. I've got 12 days, but I'm already starting to think about what to do with the show in regards to different segments, the hours, splitting it up, food backstage. It's just
always important.
But yeah, there's little things and just to take a step back as well. It's and actually, normal life. Very, very excited. I can't believe 8 months. It's almost 8 months. It's gone so quick.
Absolutely. And we talk about how you got into being a wrestling promoter. I'm sure it's a wonderful story. I know glimpses of it already, but I can't wait to hear the full version. But thinking ahead to Walk the Plank in just 12 days' time, Sunday, July the 30th, It's probably your biggest show to date that you've put on, both in terms of the number of matches and in terms of the star power as well. Now, obviously, we're going to break down the matches a bit later, but you like I say, you've literally kind of gone, let's say, overboard. You've got 9 matches, I think, haven't you?
Yeah, it's a lot. Yeah, I got really excited. The show next week, it's just, you cannot miss it. It's going to be absolutely unbelievable.
And some of the biggest names on the UK circuit, and Spike Trevay is one name that certainly jumps out. Nina Samuel's on the card as well. I mean, we talk about all the talent, but you've really got a good mixture of experienced pros, some of the biggest names in the UK, and some newer, younger, up-and-coming talent. So there's a real mix there as well, isn't there?
Yeah, really, really lucky to have a whole mix, and they blend really well as well. So, yeah, new talent is really important to me, and then you've got people like, you know, Sam Gladwell, who everybody recognises, absolutely amazing.
Yeah, absolutely. Sam's a former guest on the show, a wonderful guy, tremendous professional wrestler, and a brilliant addition to TIDAL Wrestling as well. But let's talk a little bit about yourself, because as we mentioned there, your first show as a promoter was back in January, and we'll kind of have a look at that in a moment. But you said you've been in the promotion game for 8 months. And I know that we've spoken privately as well, and you pretty much kind of took this massive decision to become a pro wrestling promoter and kind of changed your life with this massive decision of yours, and moving the other side of the country, or from London up to Huddersfield. But what was the kind of the genesis of that idea? What was the inspiration? What was that spark? When did you first have that kind of thought, yeah, I want to get into the wrestling business as a promoter, and I'm going to move my life to the north of the country?
I didn't actually plan it in that way. If you sum it up, it sounds amazing like that. I remember being asked by Ian, who I'm very grateful did actually ask me, and I remember going to a play fight training session late that evening. I told one of my friends, I think it was like Emily or Tom, and I was like, I've been offered, but I said no. And then I just thought about it a little bit more, gave it a bit more thought, and I was like, well, if you don't say yes, you never know, and I wouldn't step out my comfort zone. So if you don't take these chances, you know, you'll still be in the same position. So I just thought, okay, this could be a possibility. I'll think about it. And long story short, I went to a TNT show, and I absolutely loved like Liverpool and everything, and the people, and you know, the banter, and the show itself was absolutely amazing. So it'll actually be a year in September since I made a decision that I'd be up in Liverpool, trying to take over, you know, some of the north, so Huddersfield a little bit. But yeah, I thought, you know what, just go for it. My mum was amazingly supportive, and I just thought it's now or never, do it or don't, and very, very happy that I did make the decision.
Yeah, but having to move from London up north must have been a huge kind of personal change for you in your life, and kind of, I'm sure you get back down south, back down to London to see your friends and family occasionally, especially when there's a progress show, of course. But that must have been probably the biggest change at that time, anyway.
So I moved up with my 4 cats into a house I hadn't even seen in person. Started a new job, started a new life, started wrestling. I didn't know anyone up here. Everything was just new. I'm still a tourist up around here. I just happened to work here. So yeah, it was big. It was challenging, and left loads of friends and family behind. But yeah, progress. WWE recently, you know, my best friends, Ian, my mum, obviously. So there's reasons, but very happy in the end that I did make this. It's been a beautiful journey so far.
Yeah, absolutely. I just want to say to anybody watching at home, if you're watching this via Facebook, just so that your name and your icon picture shows up on screen, because there has been quite a few questions come through already, go to streamyard.com/Facebook first, and then that will enable us to see your name and your icon picture. If you're watching us via Facebook Live, there is a comment in the post, so just follow the link there. But otherwise, I will try to get to all the messages and all the questions that have come through very, very shortly. What would you say has been the biggest challenge being a new promoter so far? And obviously, it's all been kind of a massive learning curve for you. But has there been maybe one or two things that really stand out as being possibly your biggest challenges so far?
There's been so many dips, challenges, but like it's helped me grow so much. I can't really pin it down to one. Once I learn something, there's always something else to learn. It's constant. Maybe just keep really open-minded in regards to, you know, what you do with the shows, or if there's certain ways of doing things, just try to speak to somebody that already knows, or just expect the unexpected and go with the flow. Because I remember at the start, if something went wrong, you know, how I'd you know, combat that. But it's going to happen, and it's so beautiful it does. It makes me grow every single time. So I can't really pinpoint one. There's lots of lessons, and I'm grateful for them.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think you alluded to it earlier on. You've had a lot of people give you advice, a lot of people give you support. What's some of the most valuable advice you've received so far as a new promoter? Certainly when starting out, and like I say, it's a constant learning curve, isn't it? But what sort of advice do you still recall upon even today and use today?
There's a few. I mean, luckily, when I did have my leaving due, you know, Lee and Bestie thankfully popped in to have a drink, and Lee's given me some great advice of make my you know, Instagram professional. So I've learned how to do that, and I'm trying to show people who I am in that way. And I feel like when I come over, the people that go to the TIDAL shows are learning about me, and that's really helping. I'm enjoying just, you know, talking to people about me, so that's nice. So thank you, Lee, for that. Really appreciate all the feedback.
They are the two custodians of progress, of course, otherwise known as the co-owners, Lee and Martin Best. Two great guys.
And one that has been exceptionally helpful to remember is just to focus one show at a time, just one show. And by doing that, it's gaining momentum, and it means I can give my full attention to this one show. From now until 12 days time, that's exactly what I'm going to be doing.
Absolutely. Now, a few people that have got in touch, and as I said earlier, go to streamyard.com/Facebook if you're watching us via Facebook Live and want to send us a question. But I think this is Emily Boothroyd. I have checked it out, saying, miss you, Taj. Obviously, a friend from London, maybe, I'm not sure, but
yeah, from London. Hopefully, she'll be coming up more soon. So yeah.
And I'm just going to double check this one. We got friend of the show, former guest on the show, but renowned ring announcer and commentator Jake Pugh, who's watching us live via Facebook. Hi, Jake. Hey, Taj. Much love and keep up the great work. Absolutely. We have had a few more, including United Wrestling in Oxford, who I've started working for. They've been in touch. I'll bring up their comment a little bit later on because it could be something to think about. But let me just see where I am in my notes. And has there been anything as a promoter that's maybe surprised you that you didn't think was a thing until you actually started promoting or being a wrestling promoter that you hadn't considered? But has there been anything during the last 8 months that's really surprised you about being a promoter?
It really surprised me. Oh my god. I'm just trying to be okay with surprises. Like, you know,
I suppose there's so many round the corner, isn't there? That, you know, whenever you're running a show, but
go with the waves and enjoy that. Everything is a lesson. Just enjoy it.
Absolutely, absolutely. But let's have a quick look at the matches that are on offer. And of course, we are talking about this here. Walk the Plank, Sunday the 30th of July from the Huddersfield Parish, if I've got that right. And if you want tickets, now I do have a little bit of information about where you can get tickets from. Now, here we go. Get your tickets for TIDAL Wrestling, Walk the Plank, July 30th from the Parish, Huddersfield. And you can go to the website tidalwrestling2023.bigcartel.com or scan the barcode on the screen. And there we go. If I get rid of that little ticker, you can see the barcode. There'll be many more opportunities during the course of this interview to scan the barcode, and it will take you straight through to the website where you can get your ticket or tickets. Now, I'm guessing there are still tickets available, Taj?
Yeah, there's still tickets available, limited seated, but yeah, there's tickets.
Absolutely. A bit later on, I do want to talk about the venue, because I know that's been your home for TIDAL shows, certainly since you took over the promotion back in January. And what a special promotion, what a special place it is for TIDAL and for yourself. And we'll talk more about that a bit later on. Let's have a look at some of the matches, shall we? And first of all, let's talk about this one here. And you might want to kind of explain who's in the matches. Now, I've got here that it's Hardman Dan, Prince Dean, Franco Fate, Dynamite Lee, and Joe Wade. And full transparency, I'm not too familiar with a lot of them guys. Hardman Dan has certainly come on my radar in the last few months. But tell us a bit about this match. Tell us a bit about the people involved and what sort of a match we can expect from these five.
5 different types of energy. Again, I don't know what to expect other than you just have to be there. Franco Fate, I met him last year at a TIDAL show, and looking forward to welcoming him back. Lee, like the Fuse, really big up north. One of the nicest guys as well. Just if you put those two in a match, it'd be pretty good, let alone these 5 people together. Wade got this goth boy kind of energy going on, but if you remember one of the shows before, Prince Dean and Wade were actually in a match, and the chemistry when they're in the ring is absolutely amazing. And then obviously they got Hardman Dan. Expect the unexpected for this one. You just don't know which way it's going to go.
Absolutely. I know at the last show, am I right in thinking that Hardman Dan, he aligned himself with Gilligan Gordon? So that's quite an interesting pairing for sure. But I'm not sure if we'll see Gilligan at the show, but he's certainly a character. And I think that the two of them certainly cause trouble or mean trouble wherever they go. But that's going to be a fun one. And is it with that match stipulation, is it going to be 5 men in the ring at the same time?
Yeah, and first one to pin.
And it's the first pinfall count.
Yeah.
And what about this one here? Now, I'm very familiar with the Odyssey, Adonis Payne, Artemis, and of course they're going up against Darcy Stone and Terry Izzet. 4, say, very, very fine, very capable, very, very top professional wrestlers on the UK scene. And like I say, the Odyssey, they've been making waves, no pun intended, up and down the country. I've seen them at United, I've seen them at UBW and Sacrifice, and now in a TIDAL ring. And I know they're no stranger to a TIDAL ring, but this is going to be a really fun match. And I think one of 2 tag matches that you've got on the show. So tell us about this one.
So Adonis and Artemis obviously been around down south for a while now.
Yeah.
And I thought it was about time we had worthy competitors against those 2, and Darcy Stone and Terry Izzet just answered what I wanted from the match. So the balance of speed and the power, especially Artemis, it's going to be absolutely amazing to watch.
Absolutely. And I'm wondering, the winner of this match, could they potentially be in line for a title match between, the winner of this match? What do you think?
Anything's possible, Johners.
Anything is possible.
These two ladies are 2 I'm really fond of, and I think they're absolutely amazing. So this won't be the last that you see of them.
Yeah, that's going to be a tremendous match.
A very good question.
Well, I didn't want you to let the cat out of the bag. There's going to be a lot more conversation about cats during the course of this interview for sure, but I didn't want you to let the cat out of the bag, but who knows. Speaking of tag matches, and we got the second tag match that I alluded to earlier on right now, and this, of course, is a non-title tag match and a bit of an interesting one by the look of the poster. Now, I understand that this may not have been formally announced on social media just yet, so this might be a bit of an exclusive for Wrestling with Johners. So tell us a little bit about this match. And I've got to say, Simon Miller looking a little bit faded in the background there. What's going on here, Taj?
So yes, it is. It is just been announced now. Unfortunately, Simon Miller cannot be there because United States wants him for all the good reasons.
Best of luck, Simon.
So unfortunately, not at TIDAL, but we'll be back. So that leaves poor Means by himself against Kame Lane and Bird, and I would not want to be Means.
It's going to be an interesting one for sure.
Absolutely. Yeah. Just again, anything can happen with this one, but sorry, Memes, by yourself.
And you have to be there to find out what happens, to see what Memes can pull out from his back pocket to survive this one. But KM Lane, a wonderful newcomer from the south of the UK.
Business.
Yeah, absolutely. I've got KM Lane coming up on the show in a couple of months' time. Mike Bird, former guest on the show, but one of the best technical wrestlers in the country, one of the best coaches in the country. He means business all day long, but that's going to be a really, really fun one. And obviously, because Simon is in the States, he can't be involved. Like I say, it's a non-title match, but that's going to be a tremendous match and another one to get your tickets for. So, scan the barcode. Go to the website, TIDALWrestling2023.bigcartel.com. Get your ticket or tickets today. Don't miss out. The show's already shaping up really, really nicely. How about this one here? Two of the very best up-and-coming talents in the UK. Well, dare I say up-and-coming talents. I mean, Scotty Rourke's been on the scene for a number of years, and same for Truman Roswell, but they're really starting to break out, especially Truman, who is based mostly in the South, UBW and Sacrifice, and he's really spreading out all across the Southwest and now the Northeast and the North, all over the country, and deservedly so. Tell us about these two wrestlers, what got us to this match, and what we can expect between Scotty Rourke and Truman Roswell.
Wow. I feel like a big fan just talking about this match.
It's a tasty match, and it's very tasty, yeah.
This match is going to be absolutely brilliant. God, they're really intense in the ring. They can definitely tell a story. Sometimes the words don't even need to be, involved. The way that they wrestle and to wrestle together and in 12 days' time is going to be absolutely amazing. I know they fought before, and the match has been absolutely amazing. Not at TIDAL, and we kind of want to be watching more of these guys, so it just made absolutely sense between the two of them. But I'm not going to tell any spoilers regarding these two guys, but it's going to be an interesting match.
Oh, well, there we go. Yeah, you've got our the cogs are whirring now. I'm trying to think what could, but you've got to be there, haven't you? You've got to be there at the show, and like I say, it's going to be well attended at the parish in Huddersfield. And like I say, I know every single show has been raucous. It's been loud. It's been some amazing matches, some fantastic action, and that match, nonetheless, will be no different. What about this one here? When you look at this one on paper, it's got dream match written all over it, hasn't it? And I'm talking about Sam Gladwell versus Vusik. Now, we were talking a bit off air, and I think this is a match that you're particularly looking forward to. And this is a match that really jumps off the screen. You've obviously got experienced pro there, former NXT UK, Sam Gladwell, one of the very best in the country. And you got one of the very best up-and-coming young talents in Vusik, a recent guest on the show here on Wrestling with Johners just a few weeks ago. Both of these two guys, they know how to work hard, they know how to hit hard. This is going to be worth the price of admission all day long, and this is going to be a match that you have to be there to witness in person. But tell us about this one, Taj.
Wow, I don't really know what to say. I think it just says it for itself, doesn't it? Wow, Vusik just keeps getting better and better. He's very quiet, but when he's in the ring, that's it. He doesn't even need words. He's going in to get his prey. And then unfortunately, Sam Gladwell's that person, but with the experience and skill set that he's got, it's almost like a Street Fighter game. It's absolutely amazing.
Oh, I think you summed it up by saying it's a Street Fighter game. It's kind of one of them dream matches that you never think you're going to see, but you're going to be able to see it at TIDAL Wrestling, July the 30th, from the Huddersfield Parish. Make sure you're there. Ticket details are running along the bottom of the screen, or just scan the barcode on screen if it will allow you. But TIDAL Wrestling 2023.bigcartel.com is where you can get your tickets today. I'm sure there's going to be a link in the description to this show. I'll make sure there's one there. So just click on the link. That's even quicker and even easier. But that is a dream match all day long. What about this one here? And we speak about kind of the biggest and the best names on the UK scene. You've got probably one of the very best villains in the whole of the country, probably one of the best villains that this country's ever seen, in the form of the current Progress World Champion Spike Trivet, going up against Alf Edwards. Tell us a little bit about Alf Edwards, because I know all about Spike Trivet. I know what he brings. I know that he's cunning, conniving, menacing, but he is also a wonderful pro wrestler, and he knows every trick in the book. Is Alf Edwards prepared for what Spike Trivet has to offer on July the 30th, Taj?
I don't really know what to say to that one. If you put anybody in front of Spike Trivet, then the line's going out for the kill. So with a new up and comer, why him? Questions that people have been asking. But Spike's actually been involved with Alf's journey, and so it means a lot to them personally. And I'm sorry, but Alfie's absolutely amazing. He's definitely one that we need to be watching. And against Spike Trivet, the chemistry between those two, it's going to be watching. I don't want to be either one. Alfie can do his suplexes a 10 out of 10, and then you've got Spike Trivet. You don't know where to look when you're watching Spike Trivet. Like, he could be behind you, just he'll get in your head. So I don't know what to say to that one.
Yeah, absolutely. So this is a master versus student encounter then?
Yeah, pretty much. Good luck to both of them.
Absolutely. And like I say, if you haven't had the pleasure of seeing Spike Trivet in the flesh, you can do. Sunday, July the 30th, Walk the Plank, TIDAL Wrestling's next show. Just follow the ticket details running along the bottom of the screen, or scan the barcode on the poster, and that will take you straight through to Big Cartel, and that's tidalwrestling.bigcartel. But what about this one here? Now, I'm quite intrigued by this because Natalie Sykes, who we'll talk about in a bit more detail a bit later, she is your current women's champion, and she has a championship open challenge on July the 30th. Now, obviously, the opponent may not have been selected yet. Of course, we don't expect you to spoil it here on Wrestling with Johners, but quite an interesting challenge there from your champion, from Natalie. Yeah, like I say, that's going to be an interesting one. Another one to keep the fans guessing, and another one, like I say, where you have to be there to witness it in person to see who walks through that curtain, I suppose.
Yeah, I've got the utmost respect for Natalie Sykes and what she's done for TIDAL this year, and just who she is as a person as well.
Yeah.
And to be doing open challenges, she's got to have some confidence, and she's been backing it up. So let's just see what happens. And yeah, just a lovely, lovely girl. She's definitely one that's been one to watch again. But this match has a lot of potential. So if I was anyone that didn't have a ticket, maybe just for this one in particular, I definitely would buy this ticket.
Worth it alone to see who steps through that curtain to challenge Natalie Sykes. Not to take anything away from your current champion. Been a tremendous champion. We're going to have a closer look at her a bit later on, as we will do your TIDAL chief, Ace Matthews. We'll talk a little bit about him as well.
I'm getting goosebumps right now just thinking about this match, actually, because Sykes is a phenomenal wrestler, and it's goosebumps.
Yeah, and I've got a feeling that Natalie probably hasn't come onto as many people's radar as she probably deserves. But I think that she certainly, her name is getting out there a lot more. She is appearing on a lot more shows and a lot more people's radars. And I think this match could be potentially a star-making match for her, not only to potentially retain her championship, but to make herself into an even bigger champion on the UK scene.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see who comes out.
There we go. There we go. You got to be there. What about this guy? Now, we had Ace on the show not too long ago. One of the biggest and best characters on the UK independent scene. An absolutely hilarious character, but when he gets down to business, he's a fantastic professional wrestler. And as you can demonstrate there, over his left shoulder is the TIDAL Championship belt. The gold. He is the champion. Now, this is quite interesting. Now, I'm going to read this out straight from the screen. The Ace Matthews Dean Allmark non-title open invitational warm-up challenge series. Now, that just makes your head spin just saying that, Taj. And I know there's been a little bit of a story brewing between Ace and Dean Allmark, of course. Give us a bit of an update as far as what we're likely to see from Ace. And what is likely to happen when Ace is in the ring, because he always ends up in a spot of trouble or two. I've seen it. But tell us what we can expect from Ace Matthews and this very, very long title of an appearance.
Wow. I don't know how to answer that, because Ace just surprises me every single time. He does something different at every single match. It is a very long title, and he named it himself to try and
not
be
surprised.
Yeah, exactly. Ace. Yeah, God, just really annoying. You can see, just, the TIDAL chief himself.
The TIDAL chief. Let me ask you. So, for those that might not be too familiar with TIDAL wrestling storylines or what's happened in previous shows, what's the connection? What's the relation, the tie-in here with Dean Allmark?
Okay. So we saw that Dean wanted to, come back, and thought absolutely amazing chance to have Dean Allmark. I'm very thankful to him. And then there was some banter going on between Ace Matthews and Dean Allmark. And so we thought we'd make it into, well, Ace decided, obviously it's Ace deciding everything here, that he'd fancy a little challenge and invite people with this name, and it's been going ever since. Ace, unfortunately, Dean's got in Ace's head in the last match, and 4-1 to him.
There we go. And we'll have to see what happens. And I don't think Ace Matthews has seen the last of Dean Allmark for sure. But we've got one other very important match to talk about, and it's TIDAL Wrestling's first ever women's Rumble match, if I'm not mistaken. So I'm going to bring up the main poster, and it's a 13-woman Rumble match at Walk the Plank. And I think we've got 11 of the fabulous talent involved already on the screen there, with 2 to be announced. What can you tell us about this Rumble match? Or firstly, why did you decide to put on a women's Rumble match for this show?
So obviously, being a women wrestling promoter,
yeah.
It's a big passion of mine to help in some sort of way, and push the women's division, or women in wrestling in any way possible. But then also you got the fan in me, and it's like, actually, I'd really like to see a Rumble. It hasn't happened at TIDAL yet. Let's put the women first. So that's pretty much how it happened. And then rather than 30, I kind of got my little edge in there. So it's a 13 person Rumble. So you've got a 13 leading to Halloween, which will be October. The two people that haven't been announced will actually be secrets until the actual day itself.
Ooh, okay.
But when I'm looking at this poster, it just absolutely fills me with complete joy, and I'm so proud of every single one of these ladies in this poster. It's absolutely amazing.
Talk to us about some of the individuals involved. Talk to us about some of the individuals on the poster there, and what they mean to you.
Wow. Oh God, in Taj's mind. Okay, so absolutely, respect Nina Samuels and what she's done. Everybody, who knows who Nina is or should do. So it's absolutely amazing to have her in there, in the beginning. And I watched the podcast that you did with Nina Samuels as well. And yeah, it's complete honour. And then Commander Sterling and I met her at the show afterwards, and we spoke about Freaky Felicia, because they both go to the same training school that Liam does, and the personality and the characters behind them. You can just see it on the poster, can't you?
Yeah.
There will not be a boring moment with these two.
I'm sure they will not.
Freaky Felicia is bringing Axel as well, which would be absolutely amazing. And then you've got Artemis and Megan, two of the powerhouses in this match. And the amount of work that I know Artemis does, and Megan's always lifting something. Megan lifts. And then if you go in a bit more, you've got Bluebells and Rita. And they both train at Play Fight. Their characters again, one from Essex and another one is a housewife and comes out in on like a Broom, Hoover.
I've become a big fan of Rita Slayworth for sure.
I love it, absolutely love it. I've seen her do a 619 and absolutely love it. She kills it every time, absolutely amazing. Darcy Stone, I actually only caught up at the show a couple of weeks ago, and she's a little pocket rocket. There's so much potential behind her as well. I'm glad I got to see her there. Kira, oh my God. One of the most coolest, badass women, and her personality and what she stands for completely resonates with me. So much respect. And just these characters. Lily Winter, only been training for a year up north. But yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing where that goes. Rebecca Resner, she's on Tidal before, January, and just so much energy. She was in like the multi-man match a few shows ago, and just her ideas, absolutely phenomenal. I think that's every single one so far, but like when you add them up, it just makes sense.
Wow.
It's going to be absolutely amazing. Yeah, I'm so excited.
And with two still to be announced, or they will step through the curtain as surprises.
After all those matches as well, it's like, what?
Yeah, absolutely. Let's just have a quick recap. And obviously, we started off by speaking about the five-way there, which is going to be a tremendous match. Now, the interesting thing about the five-way is there's a few individuals that haven't quite come onto my radar yet. Obviously, I mentioned that I'm familiar with Hardman Dan, but he's only really come onto my radar in the last few months. But what's really struck me about that match is that there might be some newer names there, some less established names there that you're kind of maybe introducing to a wider audience through Tidal.
Yeah, that's something I'm really excited about as well. So I like mixing it in, bringing people from South, like Prince Dean's from South, bringing them up to North, and kind of seeing what happens, mixing them all together.
Absolutely. And then, of course, we spoke about the Odyssey versus Darcy Stone and Terry Izzet. And then we've kind of got Memes, the poor chap, in a non-title match against KM Lane and Mike Bird. Of course, we spoke about Scotty Rourke and Truman Roswell, and that's one of the singles matches to really get excited about, including Sam Gladwell versus Vusik, which is going to be absolutely sick. That's going to be a crazy match. And then, of course, you've got the student versus the master, you could say, but Spike Gervais versus Alf Edwards. And Alf Edwards going to be trying to prove himself against his mentor, or somebody that he knows very, very well, in Spike Gervais on July the 30th. And then, of course, we got the Women's Championship Open Challenge with Natalie Sykes putting her title on the line against a mystery opponent. And then we got whatever Ace Matthews is up to. You'll have to be there to find out the date. And then, of course, you got the 13 Women Rumble. So a really stacked card. And what really kind of struck me about that card, Taj, is the variety of matches, that no two matches are the same, and like I say, not just with the individuals and the variety of talent involved, but each match there's certainly an element of variety on this show, and every match is different.
Yeah, it's absolutely something I wanted to do, and I've got a really good team around me, so if I ever need advice or need to try and put some ideas together, it's not just me. I have a very good team that do that.
Absolutely.
I get absolutely excited just talking to them about it, so it's brilliant.
Absolutely. So not just them 9 matches, a few surprises to be thrown in there as well. Some unannounced talent. Obviously, you've got the open challenge from Natalie Sykes. You'll have to see who steps through the curtain to face her for the Women's Championship on July the 30th. And ticket details running along the bottom. And it's Tidal Wrestling 2023.bigcartel.com is where you can get your tickets today. Or I will just temporarily get rid of that and bring up the main graphic, because there is a barcode where you can scan away, and that will take you straight through to the website, or click on the link in the description to the show. I'll make sure that it's up there very, very soon. But a tremendous card. And another thing that kind of really jumped out to me was this here. Now, you release one of these after every single show, and I think this is after the most recent show, the Guardians of the Egal AC. I think that's Ace Matthews getting his little 2 pence in worth there. But you do this after every single show, and I don't know whether this was your creation. Maybe you want to talk to us about this. But you do have a top, what's that? A top, how many is that? Top 12 after every single show. So you've got like a ranking system of sorts. Explain the kind of the thought process behind this. Like I say, it's very unique. You don't see many wrestling companies full stop use anything like this at all.
I wish I could take full credit for it. But means Tom Anstey, he does a lot, helps me a lot with these shows. And this is actually his creation. And basically it's just to see how well people are doing and moving up and down the ranks. I think it's brilliant. But yeah, I wish I could take credit for it, but I can't. So thanks, Memes.
I'm guessing it's loosely based on wins and losses and things like that, but very, very interesting. And it's something else to keep the fans invested. And like I say, it makes it a little bit more sports orientated, but also creates a little bit of fun, kind of competitive edge there between the talent as well. And there might be one or two promos or a bit of needle flying backwards and forwards about who's in the top 12, and it gives them something to aim for sure. But let's talk, as we've got a moment, about our current champions. Now, we spoke a little bit about Ace Matthews and Natalie Sykes a bit earlier, but when I was promoting your appearance on Twitter a bit earlier on, I don't know if you saw, but Ace Matthews actually did a quote tweet, and you gotta love Ace. Now, his quote or response or retweet to my post was obviously, most of the show will feature Tidal Wrestling promoter Taj praising the way that the Tidal chief has single-handedly and valiantly steered the Tidal ship through the many stormy seas that we have all faced. Ace Matthews accepts this praise with humble humility. I'm sure he does. Humble humility. I think that's Ace Matthews all day long.
Absolutely. Oh my God. In a way, he kind of, he's done so much for Tidal Wrestling this year, like so much respect for him. But at the same time, I don't think I need to quite say that, because he demands it and he knows it from everyone.
It'll just get big-headed. It'll just get even more of a big head, for sure. But he has been kind of like the figurehead, and like I say, I think he's certainly made the championship his own. He has obviously been the biggest heel in the company and retained the championship by let's say less than desirable means on certain matches. But like I say, the baby face more often than not does always tend to lay a bit of a beating into Ace. So that does kind of make me feel a little bit sorry for him. But to be honest with you, he probably does deserve it. But he has been a tremendous character and a fantastic figurehead for Tidal Wrestling, hasn't he?
Absolutely. So, unfortunately, when you asked me that question about advice, sometimes it's not just about the advice, it's about the people that you have around you in order for, things to go well. And when I said, unfortunately, ace, ace happens. And, as a champion, he deserves he deserves respect, which he's getting. But it's absolutely amazing to see him grow every single week. Just this year alone, who he is, as a competitor, the way that he thinks, his ideas. I'm always, trying to get ideas from different people. He's one of them, and he is the TIDAL chief at the moment, and he deserves it.
Absolutely. We love Ace Matthews on this show, but don't tell him that. It will just get even more big-headed. Don't tell him that.
I don't know how it could be any more. Like, literally, he sent that. We've spoken about him. We've got 12 days until the show. I don't know if the door's going to be big enough, but we can try.
What about this lovely individual? We did women's champion a bit earlier on, another kind of figurehead of the company, a wonderful individual, and I think she's branching out and getting on more and more people's radar with every single show, and she's been a wonderful champion for TIDAL so far. Like I say, she's got an open challenge on July the 30th, but any more that we can say about Natalie Sykes that we haven't done so already?
Wow, yeah, I mean, getting better and better. I'm so grateful to have her as a champ. Just a lovely human and wrestler, and she deserves that belt. She's working for it. She's got a lot more behind her. There's so many avenues that she could go down, and absolutely brilliant to have her as as our champion, as the TIDAL champion.
Absolutely.
Absolutely brilliant.
Absolutely. Now, let's just bring up another comment here. Now, I will find their name as well. But this Facebook user said that Alfie, I'm guessing he's facing Spike. Alfie is a juggernaut despite his height. I think this next one is from Charlie Crothers. I did spot his name on the Facebook page. Hi, Charlie. Oh, lovely Spike. I know that Charlie's got some sort of a feud going with Spike. I don't know how that one's going to end.
Poor Charlie.
Probably not good for Charlie. Probably not good for Charlie. And watching us live via YouTube, we got ZBell91. He's got his tickets. Looking forward to next Sunday, of course. So follow ZBell91. Get your tickets today.
This guy is so talented. It's absolutely ridiculous. He's been a big help at TIDAL. This is just the beginning of his wrestling journey, and it's just great. So thank you so much, Steve, for being part of TIDAL. And it's people need to be getting their tickets. I don't know if we said that enough, but yeah.
And we got Richie watching the show via YouTube. Hi, Richie. Good luck with the show, Taj. Absolutely. And another Facebook user here. I will find their names.
Oh, bless everybody.
Smashing it, Taj. Let's see if I can find who sent that one. Connor Atkinson. So thank you, Connor, for watching the show. There we go. And I'm not sure if this means anything to you, or this has any relevance, but an Ashley Brett sent in this next one. And what pint do you fancy from the Sing? I don't know. Do you have a favorite? Do you have a favorite tipple? Do you know what Ashley might be referring to there?
I'm going to meet a few people after this, so it's called the Snig. But what do I like to drink? I do like red wine. Zinfandel or Rioja are my favourites, but Prosecco as well is a good one. Cocktails.
Well, after this, you'll deserve a whole bottle of Prosecco for sure. So the round's on Ashley by the looks of it.
Thank you.
Thanks, Ash. Mine's a pint. But let's ask you about your wrestling fandom now then. And I know we bumped into each other at Progress and one or two other wrestling shows. But when did your love for pro wrestling start? Do you remember kind of when it was first introduced into your life and how?
I don't know. I just remember it always being there, just like, Christmas and birthdays. I just literally, I didn't know until the other day. I thought it was 91, but I was actually 6, in 91 when I went to see my first ever wrestling show live.
Wow.
That was a Rampage tour. I still got the program.
Oh, I remember it, yeah.
So I've been going to wrestling shows just since then, but it's always been part of my life, so yeah, I felt like it was in my blood, and somehow, and I don't know, maybe it's a first generation, I don't know, but like, yeah, just big fan. I remember playing wrestling, as you do as little kids with my brother. I loved them, Mr. Perfect, Yokozuna. Oh my God, there's so many to name. Just, yeah, back in those days.
And you've mentioned a few there, Yokozuna, Mr. Perfect. Do you have any that you would call your favourite wrestlers? Certainly from your early fandom before becoming involved in the business. Do you have any favourites?
Yeah, so I won't tell the full story, but whoever remembers the match when the Undertaker first came out.
Survivor Series 1990, was that it?
Yeah, and he came out as really, mysterious, and I didn't know what to think, and I was like only 5 years old, so I was terrified.
Oh yeah.
But his character kind of came along, and he was wrestling my then favorite wrestler, and I was like, oh my God, these two. So at that time, it was Jimmy Snuka when I was 5 years old, and then the Undertaker comes along, and I'm like, I don't know what to do. I've got my favorite wrestler and this new guy who's also my favorite wrestler wrestling, and a 5-year-old doesn't know what to do. Like, do you have mash with your burgers or not? I don't know what to do. Like, so I was like, oh my God. And then it just kept me hooked ever since. So yeah, it was the Undertaker for a very, very, very long time, and it has been. There's been periods I've gone in and out of being a big fan of NWO to the point where I painted my walls red and black and white and black, and realised, oh my God, the room's really small. But I was quite young at that point, so. But yeah, dabbled. Luna Vachon was a big influence, I have to mention. It was about the managers back then as well. So Bobby Heenan, oh my God, who else? Mr. Fuji.
I suppose you had Sherry as well, didn't you, back then?
And Sherry.
Yeah.
Managers were a very, very big thing, and I absolutely loved it. I remember the head shrinkers coming out, and they used to captivate me. But yeah, Luna Vachon was like the woman in wrestling for me at that point that didn't have to be pretty, and she didn't have to act a certain way. She just was crazy. She was the one that you were going to watch, and it didn't matter of what was happening around her. And managers were a very, very big thing. And Luna in particular. You got Bret Hart and you got Shawn Michaels, and you got different feuds going on. So being a fan, it was like different bits that added. But yeah.
I miss that era. I do miss that era of all the larger than life characters, the managers. But maybe I'm over romanticizing it, because that was the era that I kind of enjoyed watching wrestling as a young fan also. But when did you first start getting into indie wrestling? When did you first discover indie wrestling and start falling in love with what you know and love nowadays?
So I went to a few different indie shows, Riptide and Brighton, and a few others. But yeah, I think it was me and my best mate Ian started going, I think, around like 2014. And yeah, I think we went to Progress around that time, 2015. So just seeing the increase and seeing, more women attend, and just the growth in, supporters and different types. So around 2015, I reckon it was probably a good 8 years ago.
Yeah. And I know that we first met, I think I said this at the top of the show, at a Progress show earlier on this year. And we met again while I was taking a break from the merch stand. You came over and we had a nice selfie there. But when you're not busy being a promoter, you are literally up and down the country watching wrestling shows everywhere, aren't you? And you're so busy still continuing your wrestling fandom when you're not promoting TIDAL Wrestling, and you're absolutely everywhere as a fan. And obviously that fandom, is still going strong within you.
Yeah, it's nice that, you know, for you to say that, because there's so many shows that I wish I could go to that I don't get to go to, or, you know, there's always something, especially up north. But yeah, I'm a fan, and that's what I'm bringing to Tidal. It's from the fan to the fans, so it just makes sense to go, you know, north to south, and I'm, you know, going to one that that's happening in Leeds this Saturday as well. So yeah, Jake from Crashboat will be doing that one, and I think that's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah. Oh, when you're there, I mean, now that you are a promoter, sitting there as a fan watching, say, a Progress or another promotion, are you there kind of watching the shows now with your promoter hat on, or with your wrestling fandom hat? And I mean, I'm guessing if you're watching it with your promoter hat on, that you're just soaking it all in from a promoter's aspect, but or from a promoter's mindset. But as your kind of viewpoint on watching wrestling now, when you're not running shows, changed?
Slightly, yes. So one of the things I used to love about, you know, going to wrestling shows before was just losing my voice. You know, starting the chants, being the biggest, loudest, you know, wrestling fan I could get, getting the people.
You're
You
the
know,
one, were you? You're the one.
yeah, I did try. I tried. So hopefully, but even though, you know, being a promoter, when I'm going to a different show, I'm going as a fan. I'm going
Right.
With respect, and if, you know, if I happen to have a promoter's hat on, then, you know, that's just another hat I'll have on. But
Yeah.
I'm going to go there and I'm going to have fun, and connect with people, and that's exactly what I try to do. And yeah, there'll be times where I'm like, oh, they could be really good against, you know, so on, or, you know, they'd be really good to wrestle away, so I reckon, you know, he'd be put in his place. But, you know, I don't say that out loud, but yeah, there's times I do think about possibilities. So yeah, I mean, I for example, the match for Sugar Duncton and Tate Mayfair's that happened a few months ago, I just knew that, you know, Tate was the one to, you know, to combat Dunkerton's energy. So yeah, there's been times, but I'm a fan and I'm going as a fan.
Absolutely. And speaking of you being a fan first and then a promoter, I know that at your last show, you actually did a very heartfelt, emotional speech, didn't you, in front of the fans? I think it was probably before the show officially started. You got introduced to the ring by a good friend of the show, good friend of mine, Mike Mad Dog Angus. And for the next 4 minutes or so, you really kind of thanked the fans and did a heartfelt speech in front of the Tidal audience. What did that mean to you, to be given that opportunity, to have the opportunity to speak to your fans and to really kind of thank them from the bottom of your heart?
Wow. So I do like to go out and talk to, you know, the fans before the show, during the show. And some of these fans are actually friends as well. So, you know, it's nice to be able to be fans together, but be able to go onto, you know, into the ring and say how I honestly felt, and somehow connect with, you know, people that were there, and the response I got. You know, I had sweets in my pocket ready to throw at people if I had no response. So I was prepared to get a response, but the response I got was like, I don't really know what to say. I'm absolutely honoured to be able to put these shows on, to be the title promoter and have people believe in me, and go along. It means a lot. I really like to be able to connect with people, and that's something I'm building in regards to people that go to the title shows. So yeah, it means a lot, and just thank you to everyone that does go to the shows. It means a lot, and I look forward to watching the matches, being in the atmosphere, talking to everyone. It's a very, very special place to be, and thank you.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about that, because that leads me on perfectly to my next question, and that's the Huddersfield Parish, the venue that you've used for every single one of your shows, and it really has become, you know, your home, the home of Tidal Wrestling, the home for your fans when Tidal perform nearly every single month. What is that venue and kind of it obviously lends itself perfectly to what you're trying to provide your audience and what you're trying to provide for each and every one of your shows. What tell us a bit about the venue and why it's perfect for TIDAL and why it's been so important to your promotion so far.
Wow. I absolutely fell in love with the venue when I saw it last year. So I was so glad that Ian used it. I like the darkness. So, you know, it's got an atmosphere.
Yeah.
And the way that we've set up the seats being on stage and around the ring, and then you've got standing, and it kind of balances out the family friendliness to, you know, people that kind of want to shout a bit more, but away from them. So it's a really nice mix. And we got really good feedback about that. Absolutely amazing. And then the guy who, you know, runs the parish, Mikey, he's such a lovely guy, been so supportive. And spoiler alert, because it has meant a lot to me. It has been TIDAL's home this year. Mikey from the parish is actually an amazing graphic artist, and he's designed the next t-shirt. So that will be available next week, Sunday, and it is of the parish with 2 wrestlers. Apparently, Ace thinks it's him and Gladwell jumping from the top of the parish. That is not what I asked for, but apparently it is. But Mikey's done an amazing job with the t-shirts, and yeah, there'll be merch at the show next week.
Right. And I've got, let's have a look now, a nice little comment that came through just a second ago. I think it's actually from your mum who's watching us live via Facebook. That was nice. Keep it up, Taj, from mum. Hi, mum.
Hi, mum. Yeah.
Oh, I love that.
I'm so proud of my mum who actually know how to log in and to watch it. I'm so proud of you, mum, for doing that, because I was like, mum, I'm going to have to go on, but I'm not going to be able to help you. So I don't know if it's because she's at my brother's, but yeah, if it wasn't for my mum, like, advice I've been given, my mum's been giving me amazing advice all my life. So yeah, hi mum. Thank you.
Thank you so much for watching. Thank you. And let's briefly have a look back at your previous 5 shows, because it started in January with New Dawn. And like I say, the posters, the graphics are second to none, absolutely fantastic. And then, of course, the following month in February, you had Goblins and Golems. The following month, you got Shug on the front there, Sugar Dunkerton with Pour Some Shug on Me, another fantastic cover there, March the 19th. And then, of course, we jump to May, Other Worlds. And then, of course, Guardians of the Gal AC. Love the pun there, absolutely love the pun. Then, of course, we look ahead to this one here on July the 30th. But obviously, there's 5, soon to be 6 shows to be massively proud of. Any particular moments or highlights from any of those that really kind of jump out at you and you know, make you think, yeah, I've kind of made the right decision, and that you know, it's all paying off. You know, what wonderful memories. But is there any in particular that jump out from any of those shows?
So obviously, you know, the Tate Mayfairs versus Sugar Dunkerton, and trying to do, you know, the walkthrough, have the longest, I can't remember what it's called, but yeah, I've forgotten the words. That match was absolutely amazing, and the crowd response for that was absolutely amazing. So we just made a train and kind of joined Sugar.
You're about the locomotion.
I can't remember what it was called. Yeah, sorry.
That's all right. If anybody watching knows, send us through your comments. But
yeah, it's so that one in particular was an amazing match. Just, I think that mattered a lot because Sugar Dunkerton was obviously, you know, at TIDAL before, so yeah, it had loads of different meanings, and it meant a lot, and it means a lot for Sugar's support as well. But yeah, there's been different times. It's really bizarre. Sometimes it's literally just sitting next to, you know, Z, watching their matches, just trying to see how the crowd react, and that's a highlight. And then the next minute, it might just be having to listen to Ace talk, you know, and the response that he gets.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's just about the people that you have around you, you know, people that make the atmosphere, the TIDAL fans, everybody involved in it. Just there's so many highlights and there's so many lessons. Sometimes it's hard to just pinpoint one. But yeah, it's been a beautiful journey. So it'd be difficult to just pinpoint one. I'm extremely excited to see the rest of the year plan out. So obviously we've got a 13 Women Rumble this year in July, and in September we have a very similar thing or the same thing. So that'll be the men's. So in my books, it's 2/13s leads to Halloween. So these next 3 shows, if I hadn't been to a TIDAL show before, or if I had, these are the 3 shows you need to be going to. So loads of memories from the past and great moments, but these next 3 shows, don't miss it. Wow.
Absolutely.
As a fan and as a promoter as well.
So. I can tell you're excited. And you've obviously got things, things you want to do, things you want to achieve, matches you want to put on, and I can tell that you're really excited. And obviously we've got the show coming up in just 12 days' time from the parish, July the 30th. The next one after that is September the 3rd, then October the 1st, and then November the 26th. What a lineup.
Sorry, just looking at this poster, like there's moments I remember of everyone in here, and it's like, wow. So I'm very grateful for the support and the talent I've had on the show and the moments I can remember.
Absolutely. And Rampage Brown as well. He's a British legend. He's been on your show at least once, I believe, but having him involved, that's just mind-blowing, really, isn't it?
Wow, it is mind-blowing. I used to, again, be really loud. As soon as the Hatebreed song came out at Progress, I was just at the front, just making as much noise as possible, trying to not necessarily lose my voice, but losing my voice. And to see him, and wow, just it gives me goosebumps. I'm extremely grateful and very lucky to be in this position and to see some of the people that, you know, I've been a big fan of for a long time. It's absolutely amazing.
Absolutely. Now, another big passion of yours, we spoke about this off air, is cats. You love cats. You brought your 4 cats from London with you up north, and of course I think it was the second show that you were in charge of. You were supporting a local charity, Cuddles Cats Rescue, seeking donations, but I think that obviously they were more involved during that show in particular, but cats are a massive passion of yours, and like I say, TIDAL continues to support cat charities, and you continue to try to raise money for cats, and especially through that show.
Yeah, so it's something that I'm always going to be trying to do. A very big reason for doing it. Hence, you know, the Goblins and Gollum show, having a cat called Goblin and Gollum. But yeah, I moved up with Hulk and Razor, who were part of the FWA, which is the Fur World Order rather than New World Order. Because Kevin went walkies, and Professor Ace and Pennywise. So yeah, they mean a lot to me, and I've been in discussion with Lucy, Scotty, Rock's missus, and you know, the place that she works, and it's something that, you know, over time, hopefully we can build something really good there. And yeah, it touches me deep down in my heart, but it's a great cause and a beautiful reason to do this.
Absolutely.
And Memes' cat is actually the ginger one on this. So.
And I was saying off air that I've got a cat very similar to yours, an all-black cat, and there's an all-black cat in the centre there, so it looks very similar to one of my cats. So obviously you've got your dates lined up through to the end of the year. You're very excited for the future of TIDAL. Obviously you're very optimistic as a promoter, and you've got big plans in store. But more importantly, focusing back on July the 30th, give us another reason or two. This is your big sale now, Taj. Why should we be getting tickets to walk the plank on July the 30th up in Huddersfield?
Oh, wow. So if I was to buy my own ticket, it would be because I absolutely want to see every single one of those matches. I want to be waking up the next morning, not having a voice, I want to be seeing history being made. Oh my God, Sam Gladwell versus Vusik. That is something that I think this is going to be iconic, because it already is to me. But one day further down the line, it's you need to see history being made in a number of ways to go to the show next week. If you don't know anything about it now, you know, you probably have caught up a little bit, but if you haven't been live, this is the one to go to. This is history making. This is breathtaking. This is the unexpected. And if you want a good Sunday with some mates to stop thinking about anything or just chill out, then it's at the parish for the TIDAL show next week, July the 30th. Walk the plank.
Absolutely. I'm going to bring up the match graphics once again and scan on the QR code that's on the screen. I urge you to, or click on the description, click on the link in the description that will take you straight through to the website and get your ticket or tickets now for Walk the Plank. And there's a few matches here that are worth the price of admission alone. Lots of surprises, lots of unexpected appearances. And of course, you've got that 13-woman Rumble match to cap it all off, the first ever TIDAL Women's Rumble match.
I could just go on about every single match again. Like, every single one of those matches deserves to be happening. The amount of commitment, passion, just, you know, I'm ready to go. It's just not July the 30th, so get your tickets now before it actually happens.
Absolutely. And before we ask you for your socials, Taj, I'm just going to remind my viewers out there who my next guests are to cap off the month of July. Now, of course, I spoke about all the wonderful guests that I've had during the course of June and July, so please go and check them out. Go and hit like or subscribe to this video, of course, and especially if you're watching us on YouTube. We're doing very well for subscribers, but we really want to get them numbers up. And of course, later on this week, in just 2 days' time, I've got the SWW, the Southwest Wrestling Openweight Champion, Septic Sid Oakley, coming onto the show live Thursday the 20th, and that's 8 p.m. live as per normal. You don't want to miss out my live and exclusive interview with Sid Oakley. And then, of course, the following Monday, I've got Nathan Angel. I'd say one of Joel Redmond's boys, one of Joel Redmond's trainees, but he's really making a mark for his own. He's really kind of branching out across the Southwest, and he's a really promising young man. You look at that picture, and he will be on every card in the next 5 years. But Nathan Angel, that's going to be a tremendous watch, a tremendous live interview next Monday, the 24th. And of course, I've got to mention, I've recently had an interview with Lee Bamber, legendary World of Sport ring announcer, an occasional referee. He's still doing the business now. He's still refereeing occasionally, but more often than not, ring announcing up and down the country. And I spoke to Lee Bamber last week, recorded a wonderful interview with Lee Bamber about his 38 years in the business and his lifelong love for pro wrestling. That will be going out in 2 parts. The first part will be going out, I think, at the very end of July, and the second part a few weeks later in August. But Taj, it's been amazing having you on as a live guest on Wrestling with Johners. But we're not quite done yet, because we want your socials. So if any of my followers or listeners want to get in touch, want to learn more about yourself, or want to learn more about TIDAL Wrestling in particular, where can they do so?
So yeah, we've got a Facebook, a Twitter, and an Instagram page. So just along the bottom, TIDAL Wrestling. So yeah, feel free to add and soon subscribe so you can watch our videos on YouTube. Have
you got a YouTube channel set up, or is that in the works?
That will be in the works. So sign up to those socials and you can see it soon.
That's it. And I'm sure they'll update their socials and tell you all about their YouTube channel, which will be dropping very, very soon. But it's pretty much TIDAL Wrestling on all the social platforms, so don't miss out. But Taj, it's been amazing having you on as a guest, episode 310 of Wrestling with Johners. I know you've got a pint waiting for you down the local, so don't want to keep you any longer. But I want to thank you so much for being a wonderful guest, and the very best of luck with your show in just 12 days' time, July the 30th. But thank you for being a wonderful guest.
Thank you so much for having me. And yeah, just thank you to
There we go. Take care, Taj, and see you at a show soon. And best of luck in 12 days' time. Thank you.
Thank you.